to you in your class. I must say that at this point in time, not teaching any specific classes, but I've been around the world speaking about e-learning. So I will make it easy for you.
You're out of the picture, Badrul. There you go.
Okay, can you see me?
Yes.
Can you see me okay now?
Yes.
Alrighty. So my special interest for doing this, because Bill is a good friend of mine, when I did the book Web-Based Instruction, which was one of the pioneering first book, and Bill always encouraged me, and I recognize that in my in the preface of my book. So this is an opportunity, so I make it easy for you. Ask me questions. What's your questions? What would you like to know? What's going on in e-learning field throughout the world? So I will basically give you an opportunity. What's in your mind? Maybe I don't have all the answers. Maybe I don't have any answer. So I like to open up the dialogue. What would you like to know? Go ahead.
We'll start with somebody up front. You can see probably easier. Anybody?
I have a question. Well,
go ahead.
Can you tell me a little bit about your business that you have?
Well, actually, it's not a business. I always wanted to help professionals so that they will be able to train others in the flexible format. Having that in mind, I started something called MceN Education, where I speak to professionals, mostly professors in different parts of the world, and also to trainers. And I have developed an e-learning framework, and within the scope of the framework, I basically explain what it takes to create meaningful online education. Now, this is a business, however, it is mostly driven by my motivation. I felt that many of my graduate students that I see, they probably have advanced degrees, but still they need training on e-learning. So they don't necessarily have the time to come to a campus like a regular graduate students. So the organization that I established, MceN Education, I wanted to show the world it is possible in this information society to provide flexible learning opportunities for professionals by professionals, and the technology is letting that happen. So the business, if you call it business, is more like have alternative way of providing flexible way of learning from fellow colleagues who have experience in a specific area. So ultimately it comes to the model that I created, a framework for flexible learning. So MceN Education uses that model, that good pedagogy, good technology, best design with interface, ethically valid, internationally, culturally valid, and good managed courses, and which is high quality, and so that one can enjoy. The business people, corporate people, people in the government, professionals, they have busy life. So they wanted to learn snippets of learning, but these snippets of learning must be well designed. And I showed through my flexible learning model that it is possible. So it's more of an educational mission than a business vision. Thanks for the question.
Yeah.
I have a question. As far as in one of your interviews, one of the interviewers was talking about requiring professors more or less, I think, at one of the Saudi universities. So do you see web-based training or web-based instruction moving from an option to being more of an expectation for both students and professors, or even in the corporate industry as well, that rather than it just being an option, that everybody's going to be expected to know how to develop and deliver on online content as well as consume the online content?
Again, another good question. Yes, you see, we are information society. Our children, they are more equipped with innovative technologies. They are in the elementary school, middle school, high school. They are culturally more technology literate than we were. Any place in the world you go, people are using and taking advantage of these online technologies. So whether you're in a university in third world countries or in industrial country, it doesn't matter anymore. Everyone have access to this information. Obviously there are situations where you have a digital divide, some probably don't have access to it. Once they have access to it, it's accessible. You don't even know where this information coming from. As I was giving interviews in Turkey, in Saudi Arabia, in Korea, and other places, I feel that the pressure of online education is not coming from the institution. The pressure is coming from the students themselves, because they are technologically highly motivated and they like to see these technologies are used for their learning experiences. You look at a kid in the middle school, he's doing something, finding information right away, and through using the technologies. So the overall the environment has created a paradigm shift for the institution, for educators. They have to get out of the system of closed system of mentality. Closed system education, as Bela Benetti mentioned, is like you come to a classroom and you are in the closed system. But e-learning is flexible, open learning. Learning materials are distributed all over the world. So the new trend in the world is to use these technologies to create meaningful learning. Now some countries are doing ahead of others, some countries are still learning, but it is a trend and we have to have a paradigm shift to either blend with our face-to-face classes with online component. Like today, Dr. Milheim's class, you are in face-to-face classes. I am coming to you through a technology and I am a virtual guest speaker. So this is blending. So more and more institutions, more and more educators, trainers are trying to take advantage of these snippets of flexible learning materials and these components. The whole idea here is no one in the information society in any country should lag behind, because this is we are blessed with accessible learning materials if we have the connection. So our major issue should be a digital divide issue. We must have good infrastructure to be able to access to these quality materials coming from different parts of the world. And it's a trend and it's a requirement. We have no other way to do things. It's cost effective, but it must be pedagogically sound. Must we know who are our learners, how they learn the best, and this new environment of open learning where instructors and students are not in the same place. And technology is the medium to support that. But pedagogy, the learning theories, instruction strategies must be implemented appropriately so that learning can happen. Ultimately, the question is, can you learn through e-learning? That means you have to design it well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Maybe somebody in the back row.
Can you all hear me okay?
We can hear you fine.
Good, good.
No, beautiful.
When you're developing curriculum for an international audience and you're trying to make it pedagogically sound, what challenges are faced with the cultural differences between America and, say, China or Korea as far as the design of the actual curriculum?
Well, first of all, you're probably talking about the instruction over curriculum. As Charles Raguelu would say, curriculum is what to teach and instruction is how to teach. So what to teach, if you have a curriculum for, especially for e-learning curriculum, expert will tell you that these are the topics you should cover. But how to teach, which is instructional, e-learning issues is very important. For example, cross-cultural communication. Think about thumbs up is way to go for the Western culture. Thumbs up could be a challenging sign for some cultures. So suppose I am in Bangladesh and I'm taking a course from Bill Milheim in Penn State. And I got an answer right for a question he asked. In the computer, Bill Milheim gave me a thumbs up. But if I had no knowledge of thumbs up means way to go, then I probably would be thinking the question, the thumbs up is challenging me. Even though I got the answer right, but computer showing me thumbs up, so I think this is like a disregarding me, challenging me. So you see, signs and symbols become a very important criteria for cross-cultural educational system. Whatever works in the United States, or whatever sign and symbol taken very with a great interest, maybe will have challenges in other cultures. So when you're designing interculturally, cross-culturally educational material, you must be thinking about signs, symbols, idioms, the way you write, and you can also see there are other problems in cross-cultural situation we're doing it. For example, red color. We use red color for warning in the United States, but in China, you'll find that red color is very animated, revolutionary color. So we have to think about this little detail. We may have the great curriculum and great courses designed in instruction and design, but if we are not sensitive to the ethical and cross-cultural issues, then we will have a problem. Now you can ask the questions, if I'm in Penn State offering a course to our students, why should we care about the rest of the world? Well, it depends on how far you want to go. How many places you want to offer your courses. The more places you want to go, you have to do an in-depth study of the audience analysis, who they are, what kind of cultural systems they have, and what are their pedagogical issues and approaches they like. So you need to, when I'm designing an instructional design for our corporation in the United States, and it will be one way, but the moment the corporation asks me, why don't you design it for cross-cultural audience throughout the world, it will give me a lot of challenges, and I have to do a special study of knowing which part of the course requires sensitivity issues. So this is only for the cross-cultural communication, but pedagogically, you see, even in our field, there are two pedagogical approaches. One is instructivist, like a behaviorist approaches, and there are constructivist approaches. Now the question is the content that you have. You need to identify, is this content, if it's well-defined domain of knowledge, definitely you can use some instructivist approach. If it's ill-defined domain of knowledge, you have to think about an alternative way of presenting information. You have to create meaningful learning for the learners by providing resources. You see, so pedagogically, if you're designing it for other countries, you need to see the students. Do they like didactic or they like constructive? See, instructor role also changes. Are you going to be didactic, that you are the sage on the stage and rest of the students will be learning from you, or you're going to be facilitating? Are you going to create good learning environment? Let the learners on the driver's seat and you on the side, you're facilitating. So international, even for the US, you need to think about these online opportunities where you don't see your students with you. They are in different parts of the world. They may be playing some kind of games and still they are responding to some of the questions the peers have for the course. You see, this is very flexible of learning. It is distributed. Students are distributed in different parts of the world maybe, and learning materials that are collected for the course could be distributed in different parts of the world in different servers. So ultimately, to answer your question, yes, the pedagogical approaches, pedagogical issues they're thinking is one. At the same time, you have the other issues, technological issues, ethical issues, management issues, you have evaluation issues, so many different issues that you have to consider to create meaningful, instructionally sound e-learning materials. Thank you for the question.
Badrul, let me ask a question if I can.
Yes.
Some of these students are graduating probably within a few months. Some of them are maybe a year or two out. What are some of the things that they can do to help them get ready for a career in training and development or e-learning or web-based training? There's an internship they can take advantage of here. The things they can do to sort of help them get ready for a field down the road.
Well, I think e-learning is that instructional design and e-learning, two different issues in here, and I don't think students are graduating with instructional design experience will have much problem in developing e-learning. So they should be thinking about jobs in, especially employment in not only the corporate world, in the US government. Because US government, as you know, e-learning is a very prevalent method of training government employees. They use SCOM. And I had the pleasure of recently co-editing a book with Dr. Robert Wisher, book called Learning on Demand. And if I can show you, the book is right there, right here. And that where they talk about SCOM. So SCOM is the shareable content object reference model, which is basically that government requires you. And also ADA, Advanced American Disability Act, which is 5-year compliance. So these are the two important criteria, standard for e-learning. In the US government, they solely needed instructional system designer. And with e-learning expertise, I think they'll be very sought after. And they can also, there are contractors who work for the US government agencies. They are the ones who will be able to help, or attract your students to part of it. And internationally, there are opportunities too. Is all you have to do is basically knowing that you are getting a good education, and you have to make a point to the world that world is changing, and you have good instructional design background. You are not a technology person, but you know the attributes of technologies, how they can be used in your training or your teaching, that can make a difference. See, attributes of technology that you should have knowledge of. How can you use Skype for educational purposes? For example, in my book, Managing a Learning book, by the way, that book has been translated in 17 different languages, and I come up with 18 different strategies. One of the studies that Dr. Milheim and Brenda Bannon, they contributed a chapter in my 97 book, where they talk about inside collaboration as a collaboration and outside collaboration. Today, I am an outsider coming to your class. It's like outside collaboration. So this is a strategy. Now, so you need to tell your employer, to your client, this outside collaboration is an instruction strategy, is very useful for learning. And how can you use it? You can use the technology. For example, today we are using the video conferencing, and this is the attributes of this Skype that will allow me to come to your class as an outsider to collaborate with you. So outside collaboration is an instruction strategy that works for e-learning field. So basically, you need to fulfill your knowledge to make sure that you have the courage and interest to make a difference. So go with these specific instruction strategies and look for the tools that can help create meaningful learning for the clients. So having this together, you go to corporations, go to the government agencies, go to the school districts, go to higher education, and also international agencies. I think it looks pretty good. It looks very good for the people in our field.
I think we have time for one more question. Go.
Go ahead. This is my home, so I'm at home. I'm not in the office. This is my home. In fact, very interesting. My 7th grader, he is, because I wanted to capture this and put on YouTube that when I do this kind of thing. So my 7th grader is on the other side of the camera. My wife, who is the learning manager at Federal Aviation Administration, and my sister visiting from Bangladesh, also sitting in the back and audience watching you. And so I'm at home, so I'm not going anywhere. You ask me any question.
One more, go ahead.
Quick question. I'm really concerned about the rapid change in technology. I mean, 5 years ago, new technology came up. Within a few years, it's almost extinct, or it's no more. I mean, it's being replaced by new technologies. And how do you think this is going to affect the future of e-learning? Because if you keep changing every maybe 3 or 4 years, how does it affect the stability of e-learning?
Yeah, that is a very good question, especially for the developing nation. They have invested so much in one technology, and next day a better technology comes. So will this new technology will obsolete the existing technology? Not really. What do you need to decide? What is that you want to teach? The content you want to teach, is it good using online technologies, or is good to use face-to-face? If you can decide this part, you must have face-to-face connection. For example, a physician doing a surgery from San Francisco in a hospital, the rest of the world can see what he's doing. So in this situation, surgery is done in one specific place, others are seeing it. So you're viewing it. But to be a doctor, you cannot be a full-fledged doctor. I had gone to a lot of surgery. I would not go to a virtual doctor who got a degree in virtual e-learning. So having said that, if you can identify the content, what contents are suited for online and what contents must require face-to-face connection. I want my doctor, a surgeon, to touch the blood, talk to the patients, and have a feeling. It's not like you're doing surgery virtually. So having said that, going back to your question is, even though you bought a technology, you need to be visionary. Is this technology is appropriate for the course I'm teaching? So then you'll see that you don't need that much technologies. What are the content? Like for, in instructional design, you have if you talk verbal information, you have intellectual skill, cognitive skills, and you have psychomotor skill. So you have to think about any of the objective of your course. Think about your course as an umbrella. What is the goal of umbrella? The goal of umbrella is to protect you from the rain or sun. So each spoke of the umbrella, think about like performance objective. So you have to think about this performance objective, can I achieve using technology? Or part of it I may. So while you start doing the research like that, you will see the existing technology is never going to be obsolete, because you already make the decision technology is a sidekick. You use I'm a technology today, camera is a technology today, and I'm thinking what I can do, what specific thing I can do today with you, since you are not here. So that allows me, maybe tomorrow there'll be better camera will come. That doesn't matter, but we know if I can go to Penn State, I'm here, and I have whatever technology I'm using is useful. So the new technology should not make my existing technology obsolete, but you should be able to take it in. You should be able to take it in what you have. That's why you need to have a budgeting. You need to have a vision. You need to have critical issues of knowing what are you going to. See, I wrote an article, I think one of the places I said, just because you have an LMS, you are not doing e-learning. See, you don't buy the learning management system before you develop the learning materials. Your learning analysis, your learning design will identify which part of the content is best suited for face-to-face and which part are may be used by a computer or Web 2 technologies. See, most places, they don't do this thing. Technology should not guide. I recently predicted for e-learning magazine, he said that technology should not guide us for e-learning. Pedagogy should guide us the e-learning. Our pedagogy of knowledge of education, learning, and knowledge of our learner, knowledge of our context, we should identify the way of teaching. And then if technology can fulfill those requirements, then technologies are in. So if you buy that I bought this learning management system and I'm going to go for it, then you are stuck with it. So what you rather should be thinking, this is the course I'm thinking, this is the umbrella of the course, the goal of the course, each of the spokes are the objectives, and each of the objectives require me sometime to talk to the student. Sometimes I need to sit back, let the student learn, or any of these technologies can do it. So once you do this research, you probably would not be using the technology you think will get obsolete in future. They have made different version, but the knowledge of what are these attributes of these technologies can help me to achieve the learning objectives. At the end of this lesson, students will be able to do what? Needs to have an action word. So can that be achieved by the technology? If you ask this kind of question, you will see that you have not made a big mistake. By the way, one more thing. I remember many years ago, one of my friends, he was using low-cost learning technologies in Thailand. I didn't know what it means. He said, that's what they have. So in your country, my country, whoever country it is, you have to think about, or which county we are in, what are the resources available. Keep that on the side. This is my agenda. This is my umbrella of my course. And do any of these technologies can help me to achieve these objectives. By the way, once you have umbrella for your course, you have umbrella for your program, you have umbrella for your county, you have umbrella for your district, you have umbrella for the country itself. So whoever holding the umbrella is the leader. And that leader will decide with policy that these specific objectives cannot be achieved through e-learning. I don't want to spend a single penny in e-learning to train medical students how to do surgery. I would rather use e-learning technologies for medical students to see how it's been done by experts, surgeons in other places. So in this case, we are using instructional strategy, which we call instructional demonstration. But actually doing surgery is action learning. You need to be actively participating in learning in a lab or in a surgical room or operating room. That's what you need to have experience. So if you start doing this analysis, you would see technology is there, but it's not taking it over. You have to be innovative. That's what we need to be thinking about. So new technologies will come. They will show that others will not work. So if you do this kind of homework, you will know what you can take in and when to say no. Good question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. If anybody has any questions, I'll wrap them through me and I'll send them on to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
See you, Badrul.
Thank you, Bill. Talk to you later.